Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be learning a life lesson through this Variables and Patterns 2.2 presentation. I can determine the best price for a product. This is going to be one of those life lessons that you're going to use at some point in your life. You're going to price out a product, whether it would be for a rummage sale, selling it online, anything like that, or even purchasing it, what the best price for that product would be that you get enough people interested, but also that you're making enough money. Let's move on. Now we have I cut off the bottom of the graph here, but I wanted you to focus on the two variables. There are two variables here. They are total price and number of customers. Total price would be that left side of the line, that left side of the chart, and that's going to be the variable that's going to be on our x-axis, or our independent variable. The number of customers, that's going to be our y-axis, or our dependent variable. So that tells us that the number of customers depends on the total price, the price that's going to be set. And that's very true. If something is overpriced, well, there's not going to be as many customers. If something is underpriced, people might think, well, is the quality all that great? Something like that. Well, let's look at our next chart. Let's actually look at the chart. These are the prices for for what they're going to charge for this biking tour. And these are the number of customers that said, yeah, I would pay that. 76 people said they would pay $150. 74 said they would pay $200. 71, 65, 59, 49, 38, 26, 14, and 0 people would pay $600. So what I want you to do is on that coordinate graph on the back, you'll have to graph this data. First of all, total price, like we said, it goes on that x-axis. That means the bottom. And the dependent variable, the number of customers, that's going to be that y-axis. That's going to go on the side. So please make sure that you put that on there right now. Next, you're going to have to select the scale. Well, this naturally goes up by 50s. 150, 200, 250, 300, and so on. So, yeah, on the bottom, I can go up by 50s maybe, if that fits. 0 to 600. Just count it out, see if it fits. Otherwise, maybe you might have to go up by hundreds. See what fits, though. See whichever works and fills up at least half the graph. You got to start at 0, and you got to include, if you're going up by 50s, you got to include 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. You got to include these numbers that aren't seen right here. And then on our y-axis, our scale goes from 0 to 76. So we have to get at least up to 76. So let's try and get up to 80. We could go up by 5s. Let's see if that actually works. Up on the left side on your y-axis, on your coordinate grid, count it out. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. See if that actually works and you're able to get up to at least 80. If you are, go with it. If you're not, then you'll have to go up by a different set of numbers. Work on that graph right now, and I'll show you what my graph looks like. It will be different from yours. All right, here's what my graph looks like. I was able to go up by 50s. 50, you can't see it though because it didn't write in. 50, 100. 150, 200. 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600. 600 was my last data point, so that's where I could stop. Over on the y-axis, that's where number of customers is. I went up by 10s. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80 isn't written up here. Now, we have our data, and it's sloping down all the way down to 0. Started at 76, 74, and then slope gradually down. Here, right at these first 3 dots, these first 3 points of data, it didn't change so much. But then it changed a good deal as the prices increased all the way down to 0. So now let's start to analyze the data. The number of people who say they would take the tour depends on the price. How does the number of potential customers change as the price increases? Well, as the price increases, what happens to the number of customers? Oh, it's falling. So we can write that as the price increases, the number of customers decreases. Again, as the price increases, number of customers decreases. Let's look at our next one, D2. How is the change in the number of potential customers shown in the table? Well, if we look at the table, number of customers is shown in the second column, and the price and the number of customers is decreasing. So let's write it in. It's shown in the table in the second column that the number of customers, are in fact decreasing. And number 3, describe a way to find the number of potential customers. I want you to describe the way. I don't want you to write down the answer. I want you to describe the way that we do it right now. How can we predict the number of customers for a price of $425? Well, let's look at this method. First of all, let's look at the graph. We can connect those 2 points, 400 and 450, because I know that right in between, that's 425. So step 1, connect the points $400 to $450. Step 2 is I need to draw in these lines. At $425, I'm going to make a line up, and then I would draw a line over to the number of customers. That's how I would figure it out. So step 1, connect the points. Step 2, find the price point 425 and make that line over to the number of customers to figure out, estimate how many customers would actually pay $425. You could also do this in the table. So 43 or 44. You could also do this in the table. First step is I look at $400 and $450 right here. Then I'm going to go over to the number of customers. 49 said that they would pay 400. 38 said that they would pay 450. So my answer is going to be somewhere in between there. It's going to be right in between there. I can figure that out by averaging those two numbers. First, I add 49 plus 38 equals 87. Then I divide that number by 2. 87 divided by 2. After I work this all out, I add in that decimal 0. I'm going to figure out that it's 43.5. 43.5 people said that they would pay $425 about. So I'm going to round that up to about 44. And that's what my answer would be. But I wanted you to describe the way. Don't put 43 or 44 for this answer right now. I want you to describe the way that I can actually get to this number using either connecting the lines and then following that over to the number of customers, or averaging out the numbers between 400 and 450. That's all for today's lesson. Remember, our target was I can determine the best price for a product. Well, we're going to talk about this in class. Which of these is the best price for a product? But we also had to work with these numbers. If you have any additional questions, please make sure to ask and write them down as you finish up this sheet. Thanks very much, kids. Have a great night.